Hey guys, it's me, Steph. I'm here to talk about the Diseased Ones book, specifically the first one by Danielle Harrington. So the newest book is going to be coming out this year, but I decided to kind of break these down into individual videos leading up to the release. So the first one is the Diseased Ones, and it follows Hollis Timewire. So the way that this was kind of pitched to me was reminiscent of like a Hunger Games, reminiscent of dystopian. So if you are someone like me, those are kind of always books that I'm down to read. But I actually did put this one off for a while because life was just not making me want to read. So, like I said, so we follow Hollis Timewire, and she's basically grown up in the society that is teaching her right from wrong and basically saying that emotions are bad, uh curiosity is bad, anything that's going to make you different is considered bad, right? And so on your 16th birthday you're supposed to undergo some sort of blood test, right? And in that blood test they're looking for a biomarker. They're trying to see whether you have a specific gene that is going to basically deem you a problem in the eyes of this government. And it wouldn't be a dystopian series if we did not immediately know that Hollis was going to have that biomarker. So suddenly she's dealt with that um shaking conundrum. She's dealt with that issue of being everything that she's told is wrong. And so everything that she's kind of been told leading up to this point has led her to believe that the government was good, that the government was not going to hurt her, that the government was not going to do anything that would warrant suspicion or fear, right? And then lo and behold, it is not as it seems. Her own mother basically turns her in, and she ends up getting teleported to a, we're gonna call it a like group, right? So she's, I'm trying not to give up too much of the details in case this is something that you actually would want to read, which I highly recommend it, by the way. But she gets teleported and she meets a bunch of these different people, right? Who are everything that she's supposed to hate. They are quote unquote diseased, right? So you end up seeing Hollis and her inner monologue constantly telling everybody around her, like, you're wrong, I'm right. The people I've been trusting my entire life would not lie to me. And you kind of end up seeing her have to be faced with the truth, at least the truth that we are getting as the audience, right? So that's kind of the major synopsis without giving away too much. Okay, if you do not care about spoilers and you just want to hear my thoughts, keep on watching. If you do care about spoilers, I would suggest reading the book and then coming back and we can talk about it. First and foremost, the biggest thing, and I think the earliest thing that I figured out about Hollis was that her inner thoughts, the way that she sees the world around her, I think is very realistic for a 16-year-old girl who's been taught one thing and then finds out that that might not be the truth. At times she annoyed me because she was just very stuck in seeing the world as black or white. She didn't see variations of gray, but that does come with just how she was raised, what she was, given, everything that she was taught. She was brainwashed and geared towards a specific mindset. So when she's stuck in that mindset, you're obviously like, hey, girl, obviously they were going to hurt you. Things were not looking great. And she's like, no, they're the government. I have to trust the government. And then, we find out that she probably shouldn't be trusting the government. I think the variety of powers found in the people around her are super interesting. I like the fact that they're not all super basic. You can tell that the author put time into trying to figure out which ones would be interesting, which ones would kind of shape the dynamic. Um, so Hollis's ability, for example, she's known as the puppet master, right? So her ability is that she is able to control other people, right? She's able to make them do what she wants, which is obviously not great in terms of like government stability. They don't want somebody like that to exist. They obviously don't know, once she's failed this test, they don't know what her power is. They just know that she has one, right? And so she kind of ends up being in a really tough spot because she doesn't really fit in with the humans anymore, right? She doesn't fit in with the ones that aren't quote unquote diseased because they're not going to want anything to do with her. But then in the beginning, and for a decent chunk of this book, she also doesn't feel like she fits in with those who are supposed to be like her because she's filled with such hate. She's filled with such loathing towards them that she doesn't really get past this until she really like allows herself to look around and to soak in the new environment, the new details that are being shown to her. Um, when it comes to how she is going to kind of face that world, realizing that when she does start fitting in, when she finally thinks that she's found a family, she's found people that know who she is, know what she can do, and they're not afraid of her, she ends up losing her temper one day and really hurting someone, which granted, not a fan of the person that she attacked, so I'm not against what she did, but it, you know, kind of became the catalyst for the ending of the book because she ends up, you know, using her powers, thinking that she's doing good, thinking that she's helping someone, just to kind of find out that the people around her are still quick to be afraid of her. But I don't think I can blame them because if somebody came up to me and I realized that they could control me and I couldn't really do much about it, inherently there is going to be some distrust there. There is going to be some lack of uh like, I don't know, cohesiveness between how I actually feel about them versus how I think that this is going to go in the long run. That makes sense. Um I think the book started off kind of slow for me. I wasn't really invested in it until about halfway through, but I did like the premise of it. I did like this idea of her needing to figure out like what was real and what wasn't real. Um like I said before, her monologue, her inner monologue was very repetitive at times, but I think that aided in making it realistic in the fact that she wasn't someone that, you know, had any doubts about the government. She thought that she was going to be this kind of cookie cutter continuation of her family legacy. She thought that she was just going to be a part of society and not really ever have a trouble with that. And so suddenly having problems and having, you know, the worst case scenario happen to her, it definitely wasn't something that I think um was made to like be put lightly. I think it really showed the stress that this like 16-year-old kid was going through. And so I'm like, I like that. I have not, as of this point, as of filming this video, read the second book because I wanted to make sure I sat down, filmed this for you guys before moving on to the rest of them because I didn't want any of my reviews of this book being changed based on things that happened in later books. But as of right now, like I'm on Danielle's ARC team, so when the latest book comes out, in terms of being sent to me, I believe on the 18th, that is hopefully by the time that I will be caught up and be able to give you guys step-by-step videos on this. But yeah, instead of rambling and continuing on, I just wanted to basically give that introduction to my YouTube channel and hopefully post more videos like this. And for those who are not aware, I do stream on Twitch. That obviously is a lot more video games and like goofy stuff, but I do hope that my YouTube channel specifically will be books and maybe TV shows and movies and stuff like that. But if you have any book recommendations, anything like that that you want to kind of share, don't be afraid to leave a comment. If you think that I am someone you'd be interested in following, then feel free to do so. That would be great. I always feel awkward asking for stuff like that, but I'm kind of making it a point to keep it very authentic in terms of not a lot of editing in these videos until I get a little bit more familiar with how to do that. But enough from me. I hope you guys have a good morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on where you are and when you're watching this. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.